Hello there. In this video we're going to talk about the brakes on the Q4 E-Tron and the auto hold or hold assist feature. I have previously done a video about the regen and the difference between D and B mode, so I'll put a link to that at the top if you want to go and view that. Now, there's been a lot of talk online about the ID4, the Q4 E-Tron and the Skoda Enyaq having a rear drum brake setup. People talking about the fact that front discs, that's perfectly normal, but having a drum on the rear on what's a fairly expensive car, are the brakes going to be sufficient? Now this is a 2.1 ton vehicle, so it's pretty heavy, but in my normal driving, 90% of my braking is done just using regen alone. And that's done in a mix of ways. There's predictive regen braking, which will slow you down for roundabouts and speed limits and things. I sometimes put it into B mode when I'm in town. That does regen braking for me and sets it on this car to the maximum level of regen. And it's a blended braking system, so if you lightly touch the brake pedal, it will use regen for that initial braking before the friction brakes are applied. That does feel a bit unusual on the pedal to start with, because if you're used to cars where the brakes are really quite grabby, that's not there. But they stop fine. This is 60 miles an hour, boom. And the hazard lights come on. In from inside. Then in the opposite direction, and what I wasn't aware of was the fact that the brake lights flash to alert other drivers that you've done an emergency stop. So hazards come on and the brake lights flash, even though my foot's pressed hard to the pedal. I'd say then the brakes are pretty good, and certainly good enough for the vehicle. It's 2.1 tons, yes, but it's limited to 100 miles an hour, and it doesn't carry a huge amount of weight, doesn't tow a huge amount of weight, and most of my braking, as I said, is done regen. So combining the regen with the drums on the rear and the front discs, there's plenty of braking power there. Obviously, being in the UK, I've not done repeated emergency stops from 100 miles an hour, but I have carried a fair bit of weight in the car and had it fully loaded a lot on different country roads and never found the brakes lacking at all. The other braking feature I'm going to talk about is the auto hold or hold assist feature. Now, this was triggered by my colleague receiving her new Enyaq this week and having to work out where the auto hold feature was. I always have it switched on in mine, so here we go. To enable or disable auto hold, go into the home menu, go to car, go into settings and service, hold assist is in there. I've come to a quiet car park to try and demonstrate how auto hold works. So at the moment, let's just pretend we've been driving, and when I stop, auto hold comes on. Now, that's nice and straightforward. The bit that people seem to be concerned about is if you then have to press the accelerator to go, is that jerky? So if you press the accelerator down, it can be jerky like that, okay? But it just takes a little bit of getting used to. You don't press the accelerator down hard when you want to crawl into a parking space. Okay, the car automatically creeps anyway, so let's just put it on there. If I just tap the accelerator very gently, auto hold comes off and we just gradually creep. Now, I'm using my foot to hold it stationary. Auto hold hasn't come back on. Put it in a D, still no auto hold. Let off the brake. We gradually creep forward a little bit. Put the brake back on gently. I stop. If I push it down a little bit harder, auto hold comes back on. Do that again. Just lightly tap the accelerator. to switch auto hold off. Oh, there we go. And then it just creeps. Use the brakes to bring us back to stop. If I do it lightly, no auto hold. I can go back into D without the auto hold. Oh, back into B, sorry. Again, it creeps forward. You can use the brakes to bring us to a stop. If I stop gently, no auto hold, I can put it back in reverse. It creeps. So there's no jerky movements there. When I get where I want to go, if I push the brake pedal down slightly harder, auto holds back on. So I tend to leave it on all the time. It's not a huge problem. Just tapping the accelerator lightly to get to release. And the car's designed to creep anyway, just like a traditional automatic car, so I just use that when I'm parking. To give you an idea what that looks like from the pedals, I've got my left leg tucked in an incredibly uncomfortable position to get it out of the way. Foot on the brake to select the gear, so put it in to drive. Auto hold is on, so I'm not going anywhere, we're not creeping at the moment. I'm going to tap the accelerator. I'm going to try and do this so you can see what I'm doing. So we tap on the accelerator and then brake to bring us back to a stop. No auto hold on. Into reverse. Back we go. Use the brake to stop. Press it harder. Auto hold comes back on. Put it back into D. Tap the accelerator. Creeping again. Brake to stop. Nice and gentle. Into reverse. I put auto hold this time because I didn't go gentle enough. It just takes a little bit of practice, but it works pretty well. Notice when I'm wanting to creep, it's just a little tap to get us moving, to get the auto hold off, and then it just creeps. The other thing people seem to wonder is how fast does it actually creep if you have it in D and you just keep your foot off the brake. So here we go, let's see how quickly it accelerates. Auto hold off. 3 miles an hour. No pedals being pushed. So on reasonably level ground, we're talking about 3 miles an hour. Here we go with that acceleration once again. And there we're at 3 miles an hour. And now we're on a slight downward slope here, but in reverse, 3 miles an hour. One last feature to note, the Q4 does have a mechanical parking brake. When you hit park, you will hear the cable being pulled and a parking brake being applied on the rear drums. I have had one slight issue with this, which is if I've gone through a lot of standing water or puddles just before I park the car up overnight, the falling modern sometimes has a slight clunking sensation when the handbrake disengages and the car pulls away, as if there's something got inside the drum. Right, that's all I've got for you in this video. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.